Okay, then this clip coming up, notice how he says you're trapped by societal convention. Do you feel that way? Being different and not being able to talk to anybody and have them being very hostile towards you. You're trapped by societal convention. Here's the clip.
Agent P, we meet again. Oh, look at that face. I know you work alone, but you'll see, Mr. I can do it all by myself. Having someone to watch your back can be just what you need there. Hey, where are you going?
Perry the Platypus with an unexpected... Oh, wait. You're trapped by societal convention. Look, we're in a fine dining environment. Everyone knows not to throw a scene in a fancy restaurant. That's right, you're trapped. Sit down.
Oh, shoot! I see we're trapped by societal convention.
Agent Lila from Cal...
Hey folks, Greg. Oh, today's video is gonna just kind of be all over the place. I've been taking notes the past couple days, and they're random, so probably be a lot of matrix references and analogies and whatnot in here, so in this video. So kind of wanted to talk about one of the things that we feel different, and it's hard for us to talk with other people, kind of like what Matt at Quantum of Consciousness was talking about, but what I want to try to zone in on the difficulty it is of trying to talk with other people. I'm done doing that. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm tired of arguing with people. I'm tired of trying to prove this is something that's real. What I would like to find is the common denominator between all of us. What exactly is it that the reason that you see it and I see it, but they can't? Personally, to be honest with you, I think that it's I guess maybe it's because of my vibration analysis and frequency training that I've had. I've seen what a bearing in a pump putting out the wrong frequency can actually do to another pump. These are fluid pumps, but I've seen that one bearing frequency can put out resonate a particular frequency that can just tear this other pump to pieces. So I know that it has an effect on at least material objects, and I know that frequencies have effect on people. Think of music, anything that's in a minor chord strikes a tone with you that in your heart that you feel sad or melancholy, or whereas a bright major, you feel happy and good. And then you can of course go to the natural frequency, which was 432 hertz, and then they changed it somewhere in I think the 20s, maybe 30s, not sure, changed it to 444 hertz. So now all instruments have to be tuned to that, and that's the standard. But back to what I was saying, I think that we we put off our own personal frequency, and maybe it's that my frequency is harmonious to yours. Maybe not quite the same frequency, but in a just like a guitar. You can play the same note here or here, a little higher up. It's maybe you're a little higher on the frequency scale than I am, but you're in a harmonious frequency. I don't know. I've heard all kind of. Actually, I haven't. I haven't heard any explanations as to what the common denominator might be. So that's just my take on it. But that's coming from an analytical state. With me, based on particular training. So I'm maybe way the hell off. It might not be that at all. I don't know. It's just the best explanation I can come up with at the time. But I do know that we are different, and we're not. We're different, and if you're like me, you know that. Let's see, I've got notes here. There's one observation that I thought about as far as in regard to, and I'm not going to go into the mass shooting stuff, but I find it odd that no one during these mass shootings has pulled the Matrix excuse yet. Okay. Now, for those of you that don't realize it, Morpheus and Neo, especially Neo and Trinity, when they go into that building to save Morpheus, and they just start blowing the place out of hell, all of those cops that are in that first floor that they wipe out, most people don't realize that those cops are actually people in those little bubbles somewhere. So Neo and Trinity are actually killing people. Because like Morpheus said, the mind can't live without the body. So if you die in the Matrix, you die for real. And they're just killing people. So, which, is part of the movie. Who cares? But why hasn't anyone during these mass shootings used the, I'm an agent from the outside. I'm in the Matrix, and now they've taken up all the payphones, so I can't get out. And I had a mission to do, and this was a failed mission. Vegas was a failed mission. I'm wondering why that hasn't been used yet. Some lunatic that would go in and supposedly blow up or kill all these kids and stuff. Now, I'm not saying, no, like I said, I'm not going to get into the mass shooting stuff. I'm not saying that nobody died. I don't know. I'm not there. I just know that as far as they just had I saw an interview with the math teacher, and he said, we just had this same drill a week ago, and thank God we did, because now we knew what to do if something happened. And he actually, this needs to be shown and told. He actually said that the police have permission to come into school at any time and perform a drill. Now, do people understand that there are kids going to high schools that can be terrorized by the police at any time by coming in and performing a drill as if somebody's in there shooting? Well, not again. This is it's ridiculous, is what it is, to be able to do that. Anyway, that I was just wondering why that's not ever, came out. Why that's not ever been an excuse. Also, synchronicities. I'm having them like crazy. I can't tell you the things that are happening. They're happening so often now. I told you about the Supertramp album. There's tons of other stuff that's going on. I was telling my dad. I was trying to. My dad is. He's kind of. I'm working on him. He believes in the Mandela effect. He sees those changes. He just can't get to the conspiracy part of the government stuff, but he does. He sees the. Like I told him, I explained to him about how do the planets. Why do they only rotate on one ecliptic, one plane? If you put a ball underwater, it displaces volume in all directions. But they portray the ball as sitting on top of the ocean, and that the ocean is the only one plane of space. But they tell us that under the ocean is space. Space is all around. So I said something to him about, think of the way a graphic of the atom, what they portray an atom to like with all the, circles going around it. Wouldn't that make more sense? And he said, it's funny that you said that, because I was just thinking the same thing 2 nights ago. I was thinking about that. So, yeah, that's another little synchronicity. A particular, he said that exact thing. He said, I thought, why do they orbit on one plane when they should do like an atom? And he told me. It's funny that I said that particular thing about the atom, because that's exactly what he thought. So, synchronicities. Any of you having those? It's I've completely given myself over to this. I've broken all illusion to what reality is. I don't believe about pretty much anything anymore. I've given it over. Maybe that's why I'm seeing more. I don't know. It's actually kind of scary and worrisome at times. I even told Matt that sometimes I think this is just a curse. I can understand why Cypher, I can almost understand it, why Cypher wanted to go back into the Matrix once he knew what the reality, the true reality was. You know, I can almost understand wanting to just go back, but we have that drive. We want to know. And so you can't. And even if you could go back, would you want to? I don't think so. I wouldn't. Um, it okay. I have one other note. You got these people that are like hardcore science, right? Science, ideology. Science is it. Science explains everything. Okay? You cannot go against science. All right. Well, here's how to shut them up. All right. You ask them about an XY or an XX in the chromosomes. Okay, if you've got XY, you're a female. If you've got an XX, you're a male. That's science. But now we've got this transgender agenda going on that they're pushing, which is smudging that. You know, they're blurring the line with that one. But if you ask them, okay, explain to me how you, this hardcore science guy, can say that an XY decides that all of a sudden they're an XX, even though you check their DNA, it's still XY. You know, or you check the chromosomes and it's XY. Well, they are locked in a, you know, they're trapped in a corner. You painted them in a corner. They either have to admit that the consciousness or personality or spirit or whatever you want to call it is not part of the physical, if that's the way they want, if the route they want to go. And then you've got them locked into, okay, now their part, that just broke their whole scientific thing. The consciousness is not part of the physical. How can that be? Well, see, that makes it a faith-based type thing. They can't go that route. So they just smudge it. But you've got them right there. This transgender agenda thing is really, you can use it to your favor. Now, I'm not talking about, look, if you want to think you're a female or you want to think you're a male, that's your business, but don't expect me to acknowledge that. You know, I'm sorry. It's not that I'm trying to be insulting to you, but I'm just not going to. I'm not going to acknowledge that. So that's a good way to shut up a hardcore scientist. Make them explain why the physical body says that somebody's female, but yet all of a sudden they can decide what they are. How is that possible? And how is it possible for you to acknowledge it, but yet you're hardcore science? So we'll get that part out of the way. Also, it's time for my medicine, so now, as you know, I have fibromyalgia and I have to take maintenance medication This is gabapentin, which is Neurontin. It messes with my short-term memory really bad, so that's why I write notes down. Okay, this is my maintenance pill. Oh, good grief. Let's see who this is. I have no idea. Sorry. This is, think about the Matrix. You got the red pill and the blue pill, right? Of course, these are both orange. They're tracer program. One's a tracer program, and one is a program that just puts him to sleep and he wakes up. Well, based on if this is some type of digital simulation, which I don't know what this is. It's a construct. Okay, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. I am a Christian. I'm not a good one. Far from being a good one. But I believe in a creator. I believe in Jesus. I was raised in church. I actually studied theology. I have a ordination that I have never taken. I could actually be ordained and be a pastor, but I'm not, because I'm not a hypocrite. I cannot take that ordination and call myself a pastor when I still curse and I smoke and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm just more than willing to admit that I am not a very good Christian. I'm not. But I will never force my beliefs on you, because I believe that if you have to be under conviction, and my ramming it down your throat is not going to create you to automatically just all of a sudden be under conviction for something. So you have to do that on your own. The Bible says, work out your salvation with fear and trembling, and work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. I'm not going to force that on you, so don't ever worry about that. But I do believe there is a creator. To be honest, if you believe in a simulation theory, then you should believe in some type of creator anyway. But if that's what we're living in, some kind of construct, and these are nothing more than, like Morpheus said, they're just programs. So I have fibromyalgia. These pills, or this medication, is what takes care of that. It helps me to function. So is this just a program that runs inside? Maybe I have a virus in my programming, and this kind of is like antivirus for a little while, takes care of it. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to take this real quick. Got some clips, of course. You saw the first one. I'm going to put a clip in here where it talks about, it's from the movie Almost Famous, and he's talking to William, the young reporter. He's talking to Lester Bangs, which is Philip Seymour Hoffman. Now, use this clip as a metaphor, an analogy for two guys like me and you talking to each other about what's going on out there and what we know. And I love what the verse what he says. He says the only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool or when you're affected, Mandela effect. Let's just use that metaphor. Or a lunatic or conspiracy theorist. You know. So I'll put that clip in right now.
Hey, let's face it. Yeah, you got a big head start.
I'm glad you were home.
I'm always home. I'm uncool.
Me too.
You're doing great. You know, the only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool. So my advice to you, and I know you think these guys are your friends, if you want to be a true friend to them, be honest and unmerciful.
So what do you think? You think it does that kind of resonate with you? Does it? It does with me. I mean, it's like, okay, Lester Bangs is he's basically saying, look, like me. Sorry, good grief. He's basically like me, and he's let go. He understands. He knows that this is not real. And William is just finding this out. So it's like he's finally telling him, look, you got a big head start. You've got a chance to see that. So now we can talk. You know, you can start to learn to get better at this. I don't know. I just know that the more that I let go, the more crazy stuff happens. The synchronicities are just popping up all over the place. It's clocks, seeing 333, 1010, 222, 5:55, and it's just that I just happened to look at the clock at that time. I'm not going to sit there and watch 5:54, wait till it turns to 5:55. It just so happens that I turn around or happen to notice a clock. I see it outside, on gas prices and stuff. And there'll always be people that will say, well, you just see what you want to see. It's self-fulfilling prophecy. No, this is not. No, it's not. I can't arrange going 40 miles to an antique store that's about an acre and a half and walking through there and just happen to find a particular Supertramp out from 1979 Supertramp album that has the predictive programming for 9/11 on it. I can't arrange that. That's not me self-fulfilling something that happened, that I wasn't even expecting to find that. I had forgotten all about that album. So the people that say what we're doing is just seeing what we want to see, that's bullshit. So Let me look through my notes real quick. Make sure there's. I think it's Zachary Hubbard, which I'll put a link to his video in the description. I was watching one of his videos, and it rang a bell with me. It was, of course, he always sees numbers and everything, but he's into the gematria stuff pretty big. But I did do some checking on. He was talking about the old Patriots. When Drew Bledsoe went down, it was two. Now this was the 2001 season. Two New York Jets took down Drew Bledsoe and took him out for the season. Bledsoe wore the number 11. Okay, and there's some stuff with the numbers of the two New York Jet players. I think one was 93. Then I did some thinking on my own. I didn't get that far into it, but think about Tom Brady. He's 12. Okay. Everything's reversed anyway, according to Aleister Crowley. So, learn to write backwards, talk backwards, backmasking, all that. So if you flip that, that's 21. And this is me reaching. So you've got Tom Brady, who 12, number 12. If you flip it, it's 21. He brings in the 21st century because, contrary to what most people believe, the 21st century didn't start until 2001, not 2000. But he brings in the 21st century. Now, I did some digging because I got to thinking about, well, nobody's mentioned the tuck rule and the Raiders, because if it hadn't been for that, the Patriots wouldn't even gone to the Super Bowl. So I did some checking, and yeah, that was in a playoff game for that season. It was I think January 19th of 2002, from what I remember looking at. But the tuck rule. Now, that was controversial. And think about the words, tuck rule. And it's a patriot. And then next thing you know, we have the Patriot Act, which is very controversial. It's unconstitutional if you ask me, but not going to get into the political stuff. I'm not even going to get into this. I'm just going to leave the link. You can watch it. It's very interesting. But like I said, there'll always be people that that will say that all we're doing is seeing what we want to see, and it's self-fulfilling prophecy, and that's bullshit, because there are things that are happening that you can't just arrange, and the anchor effects for me personally was the JFK assassination. I know that there was 4 people in that car. I sat through the 90s. There was a guy that I worked with that he was dead set on he was going to figure out who killed JFK. And it you know, that's just what it was. That's all he did was spend his free time trying to study the JFK assassination. But I've seen the Zapruder film so many times it's ridiculous. I know the one reason I do know that there were only 4 people in that car was because it looked like the driver actually pulled a pistol and shot JFK. There was no partition. There was the governor in the front seat, the driver, Jackie, and JFK. And I know that, but now it's different. So that's one of my anchors. And then I've had crazy shit happen. The Wizard of Oz thing happened to me. The VW logo. It's just weird. Gonna put in another clip right here. Want to show you how this is from commercials that would be considered not politically correct today. But I want you to notice that at the end he says, the Frito Bandito, you must not offend. Well, that's exactly what he's saying. Don't offend me. But that's exactly what this commercial would actually do today. It would offend. Now, I have had an aunt. She passed away. But she married a man from Mexico who immigrated here. And he's my uncle. He's one of the best guys on the planet. And you can't ask for no better person. So I'm not against Latinos. Even he is against illegal immigration. He doesn't like that because he did it the right way. And I am against that. But I'm going to put that video in right now. And I see that I've been talking a while. So anyway, I'll add that video in. And then I'll come back. And then we'll end this one.
I heard you want to be a frito bandito like me. You too? Then you must sing the bandito song. Let's sing together. You just follow the bouncing Fritos corn chips bag. Ay, 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 ay. I am the frito bandito. Hey, I like Fritos corn chips. I love them, I do. I want Fritos corn chips. I'll get them from you. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, I am the frito bandito. Give me Fritos corn chips and I'll be your friend. The frito bandito, you must not offend.
Do you see what I mean? You see how that would be extremely offensive today. But yet at the end it says, you must not offend. So it's... I don't know what to say about it. It's so over the top. It's funny, ridiculous. But just a few thoughts. I'm gonna leave Zachary's link. Go watch the video and see what you get out of it. You got to really sink yourself into it to get something out of it. And I'm going to leave a link to those of you that aren't aware of Matt at Quantum of Conscious. I'm going to leave a link to his video as well, the one he just put out. Excellent video. I called him last night to compliment him on it. I loved that video. That let's just dive right in and, you know, figure this out kind of thing. You know, let's just get in there, get your hands dirty, and let's figure it out. I love that. So, because it's time to stop skirting around everything. Let's just go. Let's get in there. Let's collectively get together, put our heads together, and try to figure out what is the common denominator. Once we get that, then we can work from there out. So, anyway, I appreciate you taking the time to, if you're still listening, I appreciate that. Sorry to keep running on. This is kind of off the cuff. Had notes. But anyway, once again, until I see you next time, have a good one, and please be good to everybody else.